welcome to the Casually Fit podcast. As always, my name is Rob, and thank you for coming by. Hopefully everybody had a good turkey day. Hopefully everything went well. You saw family or you didn't see family, whatever, right? It's weird times, but hopefully, it went well for you, right? It went well for me. I didn't go, I was born in San Diego, but I grew up in Wisconsin, and most of my family, my mom, dad, they're in Wisconsin. I didn't go home this year. I just cruised around here in San Diego, and it was actually a good turkey day for me as far as surfing. I cruised down south a little bit farther than usual. I won't let you know the spot. It's a secret. Not too much of a secret. I actually went down south to a spot to where, there's going to be, the waves are supposed to be like 5 or 6 feet. And, the spot I go to, it should barrel. So the wave would just throw over and you should be able to get barreled. If you don't know what that means, I would assume most people know what getting barreled means, but just Google it. But so, that's especially here in San Diego, it's a very special occasion when you can find a wave that barrels. You really kind of have to know where you're going and know the swell. And there's a lot of things that need to line up. And so thankfully, I have a little bit of know-how in this. And so I picked the spot, and in my mind, yes, it was Thanksgiving, but I was like, it's not going to be that busy. And the spot I go to, it usually isn't that busy, even when it's going off and the waves are great. It usually hasn't been that busy. But this spot, the entire beach, it was just so crowded. It was going off. It was, 5+ feet barreling, and the winds were good, and it was like pristine conditions, and it was packed, the most packed really I've ever seen that place. And yeah, the secret's out basically. I used to go there, and definitely not that many people, but the secret's out. But either way, I was still able to, with all the people, literally, hundreds of people, easily over 100 people. I was able to actually find a little spot that I used to go to, and I actually had, usually when you go surfing and when it's that crowded, waves come in, and if you're looking for a good wave is usually probably, even at a beach break, the wave's going to come in at around the same spot. And everybody who's decent at surfing knows this, so they go to that spot to where they know where the wave's going to break at, so they can catch it and take it. And so usually you get a big group of people right there, and you have to kind of battle the crowd. It's just kind of a whole mess when you have a group of people like that. But I was actually able to find a spot that had a good wave, and there's nobody around. There's people around the area, but there's like such a strong current at this one little spot to where you had to paddle so much just to stay near the peak of the wave, to where like nobody was doing it. So I was literally just, out of all these people, this huge crowd that was scattered throughout the entire coast of this beach, I was actually able to find a spot to where I was just by myself basically, and I could take a wave, paddle back out, take another wave. I didn't have to, I wasn't battling with anybody. And that comes with being fit, all right? So, and that's why I work out, and that's why I focus on my cardio is for those situations. And so yeah, it was great. Went there, got some insane waves, some very intense. It's so, it's just such a different experience when you're, trying to get barreled in bigger, powerful waves. You can just get so messed up if you make a mistake, and I made a couple mistakes, right? So, but I also made some good choices, and it was fun. So that was my turkey day. I don't know if anybody cares about that, but that's what I did. and I had fun, and then I think I worked the rest of the day. But, on to the topic of today, right? So the topic of today is I wanted to talk about exercising and, the habit of exercising, right? Because habit, first of all, let's talk about a habit. A habit is, you know, a habit is usually, the word before habit is usually drug, right? People say, "Oh, this person has a drug habit. This person has a habit of smoking crack, right? Smoking that rock. That's what they have a habit of doing, and or they have a habit of not paying their bills or something." Usually a habit is something bad because what a habit is it's you doing something and it's hard for you to stop, basically, right? That's not the exact definition. I have the here. Let me actually have it. 1 second. Um, all right. So it's a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up, right? So a habit's hard to give up. And again, usually this means bad things. Apparently, if you do crack, it's hard to give up, right? Same with heroin, same with all these drugs. And I probably just got this video flagged for saying those words. But what I'm saying is you need to get in the habit of exercising because it needs to be hard to give up to exercise. And that sounds kind of crazy, right? For people who don't exercise at all, right? And which I hope people who are trying to work out or whatever, trying to get a habit of exercising, hopefully you're listening. But for the people who don't exercise a lot, don't do it a lot, it's a weird thing to be like, what? I mean, it's at some point it comes to where it's harder to stop exercising than it is to continue, right? So that means you have a habit of actually exercising. It seems foreign, almost impossible for many people. I'm sure it definitely felt that way for me many times. Going through trying to get back in shape after being older. It's just a weird. I'll get into that on a different day, but it's a foreign kind of thing, and but it's something that is absolutely, you need to look at it as a habit. And there are several books on habit forming, um, and I would say look into those. I think one's called The Power of Habit, and there's another one that has like a similar title and looks the same. I forgot the name of it. Oh, The Habit Factor. Both those books are pretty good on habits. But that's how you have to look at this whole exercising thing, right? Because you need to show up, right? If you're trying to lose weight, whatever your goal is, lose weight, get in shape, get super buff, get slim waist. Nowadays getting the backside for girls, getting the backside abnormally huge is a goal, I guess. um, if that's your goal, you have to look at this whole thing as a habit, and you have to be like, all right, I need to just show up. Like that's like the biggest thing is showing up, because one statistic that if you listen to this at all, one statistic is that 80% of people who set out to follow a workout plan, follow a diet plan, get in shape, 80% of them fail at 5 years. So they don't make it. 80% of people don't make it past 5 years. So, exercising, just following a workout program and following a diet program, by that statistic is extremely difficult. 20% of people, succeed at it, right? So it's very difficult. And that's why you have to kind of like, again, if you're not somebody who's really in this world and you're just starting, like maybe a couple days ago, you're just like, I should work out, right? I should start exercising, and it can seem weird to kind of look at this as like this kind semi. I mean, it's serious. It's a serious thing, right? diving into how you can continue to exercise, I mean, it's clearly a problem for a lot of people. It's clearly a problem. Like a lot of people are not succeeding at it, right? So we kind of have to dive into it a little bit, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. But yeah, I just thought for a second, like, yeah, of course, if you're not somebody who's too familiar with this, or you think you got it and you think everything's going to go fine, you kind of have to recognize what will more than likely lay ahead of you. I can almost guarantee you, for most of the people who do succeed at losing the weight and being fit, for most of those people, I would say that they probably didn't think of themselves as special. They probably thought of themselves as, oh my God, this is serious and I got to take this serious and I got to, figure out how to make this happen and dive into all these different ways to make it happen. So that's what I'm just trying to say right now um, sorry, there's like a noise that is very distracting right now and it's irritating me. But but yeah, so I wanted to talk about that. Let me just make sure. Well, one thing, yeah. So first, I just want, the first step, if you want to create the habit of exercising, is you need to just understand this, right? You need to understand what lies ahead. You need to understand that this is pretty serious for most people, and you got to take it kind of serious. And I'm not really a serious guy, so it is kind of hard for me to say this, but when it comes to this, when it comes to exercising, showing up, you got to take it pretty serious. To make sure that you can actually do it, have fun and have a smile on your face and everything. But don't just let yourself skip a workout or two workouts. And the way to do that is to create this habit. Just want to make sure, because if you want to have a healthy body for the rest of your life, you want to be healthy, you want to have that type of body. You don't even have to have the picturesque body or whatever that's on magazines. If anybody buys a magazine now, you don't even have to have that, but just to have a healthy body that's not on the cover of a magazine, it takes work. And it's something that you must realize that you're going to have to do this for the rest of your life. You're going to have to exercise for the rest of your life. You're going to have to watch your diet for the rest of your life if you want to be healthy. And that is an unfortunate, unpopular truth that we all kind of have to come to terms with. This is a we thing. I have to follow this as well, right? I'm just in a different place. I've just been following it longer. I've realized this before, and it's as I get older, and as I research this more, and you see all these diseases that pop up and all this crazy stuff. This is completely necessary. So we gotta do this. So how do you do it, right? So how do you create the habit of exercising? Well, first and foremost is recognizing this, coming to terms with it, feeling that oh my God, that kind of takes your breath away. You come to reality real fast if you're really understanding what I'm saying. Like man, this is especially again if you're somebody who has a few extra pounds, you haven't exercised in years, or you've never exercised, you're 30 years old, 35, 40, however old you are, and you're just, you can kind of think and look ahead a little bit, and you're like, oh, the amount of work and the amount of time and the amount of effort that it's going to take me to reach a healthier status. I mean, it's very daunting, right? So I want you to feel how daunting it is, okay? Because that's going to help you just understand what's at play, and that's going to keep your mind in the right space to help you put forth the effort on actually reaching your goals. So that's the first step. Second step, all right, we got to make it as easy as possible, okay? You want to set yourself up for success, okay? You want to make it to where you wake up in the morning and everything's not all kind of chaos. You don't wake up in the morning and go about your day and then think to yourself, oh, well, I need to work out at some point today. I wonder when I'm going to work out. And then continue working or continue eating your lunch. And then you still don't even know when you're going to work out that day. And that's just not the way to do it. Okay. If you want to reach your goals, you want to lose weight, do all that. I mean, certain people can do that, but very small percentage of people, like extremely small percentage of people can do that when it comes to exercising, especially if you're somebody who hasn't been exercising and hasn't been dieting and hasn't been doing any of this. If you haven't been doing this for years, you could say that you have the habit of not going to work out, right? So you have this huge habit that you've been doing for years, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I'm going to try to change this habit. And you're just kind of nonchalantly going about your day and being like, well, maybe I'll work out today or maybe I'll work out tomorrow. And then all of a sudden the week ends and then you've only worked out once, right? Or you haven't worked out at all. And then that's an issue, right? Or you did work out but you're kind of bad with the time management and you ended up only going in there for 15 minutes, walking around, doing a couple stretches, and yeah, you worked out, but how far down the path have you gone to reaching your goal, right? So that's why this next step is you need to make it easier for yourself. And to make it easier is you need to set out when you're going to work out each day and each week. And this is boring, I know. This is, it's not something you want to hear. It's like people want to hear these hacks. They want to hear these life hacks, these little tiny things that they can do. Look, those can definitely sure help you out, but I'm talking about the large chunk fundamental things that you need to do, the pillar stones, as you would call it, that you need to do to actually exercise on a continuous basis. And one way to do that is to set out on Sunday, Monday morning, whenever, and figure out when you're going to work out every single day. However many days your workout plan schedules you in, right? So for most people, it's going to be 4 or 5 days a week, right? So look ahead at your schedule, say, these are the days I'm going to work out, and this is the time I'm going to work out, no matter what. And then, so put that time no matter what. And then even I would say, well, if something changes here or there, this is the other time I'm going to work out. So have a plan A, have a plan B, and just set it out, right? And usually that's going to stay the same week in and week out. So you really kind of only have to do it once, depending on what kind of job you do and everything like that. But so you really only have to kind of do it once. So it's not too much of a pain in the ass to do, but you still have to do it. You almost have to, if your schedule changes a lot, then you kind of have to create the habit of scheduling out your workouts. So on top of you trying to create the habit of exercising, now you got to create the habit of scheduling it out, which is, again, it's just another added thing, but it's a necessary thing, because it's better to wake up in the morning and either, it's just better to know exactly what you're going to do in terms of exercising, because again, you're battling this habit from before of not exercising, right? So to combat that is you just need to set it up so you can just kind of free flow into your day, and you don't have to think about it, right? So there's no excuse on, I don't have time, or maybe I can do it later, or should I do it now? It's you already set out, earlier in the week and said, okay, no matter what goes on, this time is going to be the time that I go and work out. This time should be enough time. Nothing else should be getting in the way. And 99% of the time, nothing else is going to get in the way, especially if you take the time to truly find a space to put this workout in. And for most people, we don't live extremely chaotic lives to where it's going to change at a moment's notice, and and this, you also have to prioritize things as well. You can't, if your friends say, if you put your workout at 6 p.m. and your friends say, hey, let's go grab a drink, I mean, you have to prioritize what's going on, right? For that situation, uh, the answer, hey, you want to go have a drink? The answer should be, if you're trying to reach your goal, if you're trying to create this habit, and you don't have the habit, if it's difficult for you to show up to the gym right now, then your answer should be, no, I can't go have a drink. I got to go work out. That should be your answer. Now, when you're further on down the path and you have the habit of exercising and you're not worried about not exercising the next day, and you're not worried about sticking to your plan or anything like that, because you already know that no matter what, you're going to make it work. And if you miss a day, you miss a day. It doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, you're still going to be following your plan. You're still going to be exercising. That's when you say, yeah, I guess. I mean, it's been a while since I pushed off a workout. I'll do it today. I'll go have a drink. And that's the goal we should all have. I mean, that's what comes with having a habit of exercising. Being in that space to where you can comfortably move around throughout your life, and you can do these things. You can eat the cake. You can go have a drink or whatever it is, because at the end of the day that you don't have a issue with not following the diet most of the time, and you don't have an issue of not following the workout program most of the time. So that's really the goal. But yeah. So the second step, is to plan it out, right? Just figure it out, plan it out, put it in your week, and get moving with it. Now, the next step after that is you need to have some reasons, right? You need to make your reasons clear. This is the third step. So you need to just know exactly why you're doing this, right? So it all depends, but for many people, you're coming to this on your own terms. You're coming to this, you're saying to yourself, okay, I need to exercise, I need to lose weight, need to do whatever it is for X, Y, and Z. Well, you need to make X, Y, and Z, you need to make it very clear. You need in your mind, right? You can write it down if you want. I suggest writing it down, and maybe even writing like almost like a little blog post, I guess, about it, or almost like a journal about it. If you want to get serious about it, right? Then that's what you should do. That's what I would suggest for you to do. Not everybody's going to do it, but so then for those people who don't want to write it down, don't want to think it out thoroughly on paper, just kind of think it out thoroughly in your head and make sure that they are easily accessible. Just make sure you have like certain points on why you're doing it, right? And that they're easily accessible in your mind, because what's going to happen is, again, if you're just starting out and you haven't started trying to exercise, what's going to happen in the future from now is you are going to be going about your day. Maybe you're 3 or 4 days in, you're going to be like, yeah, this is great. I'm working out. I'm doing great. And then maybe on day 4 or 5 or week 2 or 3 or whenever it is, but it will come. There will be a day or a few days of you being like, I don't want to do this at all, right? You're going to be sitting there thinking, I'm not going to do this today. And you're going to come up with all these reasons on why you shouldn't be doing it. And that's where you have these reasons at the front of your mind. When you think to yourself, I'm not going to do this today, that should trigger you to think about your reasons on why you should do it. All right. So just having a clear, a clear reason on why you're doing it, that is going to be huge for you, just to help you, again, combat these times that you will have to where you don't want to do it, because you're going to be very sore, and there's going to be a whole lot of different factors that come into play that can cause you to not continue forward. And if you don't really have a reason, right, if you're just kind of nonchalantly going about this and you don't really have these reasons, then it can be very easy for you to not do it and just to quit and not exercise. And that's how you fall off. Again, 80%, it's so many people, 80% of people don't do it, right? The obesity epidemic in the United States is, I believe it's over 40%, and they expect it to keep going up higher. I think they expect it to be like 60% by like 2030 or something. So, and that comes about for several reasons. And one of those reasons is not exercising and not wanting to exercise and not having the habit of exercising. And when people do set out to be like, I am going to exercise, they come across these problems. And they come across a problem to where in their mind they think, I don't want to do this. And if you don't have a reason, then you won't do it. Right? So make sure your reasons are solid. Right? Just so you can trigger it a little bit when you start to think of, okay, I'm not going to do this. And if you don't, and other people who really don't want to do this, again, a lot of people just really don't want to do it. A lot of people don't want to exercise. They don't really care to lose weight for whatever reason, But if you're here watching this video because you went down a rabbit hole or whatever, and your doctor told you, hey, you need to lose weight, you need to exercise, that's all the reason you need. Okay, these are doctors. If a doctor's telling you, they're a doctor, right? That's the doc, okay? These people are professionals, right? They're not telling you to lose weight or get in shape because they want to feel good about themselves. They're not telling you because they're lizard. They're not telling you because they're lizard people who want to control the masses. Sorry, I love conspiracy theory people, crack me up. They're not telling you these things for any other reason other than that they want to see you healthy and they want you to live. And they're your doctor. It's their job to tell you exactly what you need to be doing. All right. So if they're telling you, hey, you need to exercise, that's all the reason you need. And then it would behoove you to attach other reasons to it. All right. It would behoove you to be like, yeah, I should exercise and lose weight because I want to live, because the doc told me if I don't do this, I won't live much longer, which guess what? I won't even get into it. So I would say attach more reasons to it, but the doc telling you, hey, you need to lose weight, that's enough reason right there. All right. So that's the next step. Okay. So first step, understand this whole entire situation. It's a difficult undertaking and there's a lot of pitfalls that lie ahead of you, but just understand that you need to create this habit. And then the second step is to get that schedule down. And then the third step for you is to have some reasons at the ready for you on why you're doing this. And then the last step for you is you need to become in tune with your thoughts and feelings. So I've kind of already been touching on this, but you need to know what's at play. And I don't want to, we have too many things that are us versus them, this versus that, battleground, fighting, all this stuff, right? And I don't want to add on to that whole mix, but, there is kind of for lack of a better terminology, I guess I'd say, there is a battleground at play. There is a battle at play because right now when you're listening to this or when you're exercising, everything's good. You're in the headspace that you want to be doing this, right? But then when you're a couple days down the road or a couple weeks down the road or a couple months down the road, there's going to be times where you're going to be like, hey, I don't want to do this. And you're going to have this battle back and forth. And for many people, this will be in the beginning, and it could be every day. And it could be multiple times throughout the day to where your mind is going to be like, no, I don't want to do this at all because of several reasons. Maybe you have anxiety because you're embarrassed when you go. So you're trying to find reasons, your mind's trying to find reasons to get you out of it, right? Maybe it's just very difficult for you and you feel inadequate, right? Maybe your ego is taking over and it wants to put you in a more comfortable space to where you are higher up on your imaginary hierarchy, right? So maybe there's that's at play. But you're going to have these certain scenarios for people in the beginning to where your mind is going to, most of the time, in most situations, it's going to be trying to convince you, for most people, to not do it, right? So you need to understand this battle that you are going to have to go up against this force, whatever. You're going to have to go up against this probably day in and day out for, they say to build a habit, right? And this happens for almost anything that you're trying to do. When you're trying to build a habit, this is going to happen for most habits that you're trying to build. If they're good for you, most of the time you're going to have to battle this. And this is the same for exercising. Okay, I've gone through it with exercising. I've gone through it with all the other different habits that I've created. You're going to have this negative space that you're going to have to go up against. And this is like the most important part. This is where people really falter, because you can know, right? You can know that this is difficult and you can have a schedule in place and you can have your reasons on why you're doing it, but you still have to decide to actually go and do it. You still have to decide to exercise. So that's really the issue, right? That's a problem. Okay, that's a problem for a lot of people, is deciding to go. And the reason why it's a problem is because you have this battle and you need to recognize it. So you need to become more in tune with these thoughts and feelings. You're going to feel a certain way. It's going to be different. It's going to be uncomfortable, right? When you wake up in the morning, and even if when you wake up in the morning and let's say your workout is scheduled for 5 o'clock, right? And you've already been working out for 4 or 5 days, and you wake up, you're tired, right? You're more tired because your body's going through this process of adapting to this new schedule, this new exertion. And so just naturally you're tired. You're more tired. And then on top of that, your body is sore. And then on top of that, maybe you have anxiety for whatever reason about going. Maybe, again, you feel embarrassed or whatever the case is. And then on top of that, maybe your friends want you to go have a drink, or you just would rather go sit on the couch and just relax and rest. You have all these different factors at play. And when you wake up in the morning, for many people, you might be dreading this whole workout thing. You might be thinking all day, like maybe you wake up and you're like, yeah, this is going to be great, going to work out, blah, blah, blah. But then throughout the day, you're like, oh man, I got to go work out. I'm not excited about this. And then your mind is just it can go into a negative state to where it starts convincing you at 11 o'clock, maybe at 11 o'clock in the morning, a little thought comes in, hey, maybe I don't need to work out today. Maybe resting would be better for me today. And then by 5 o'clock, you go, yeah, I'm not going to work out. And then you just don't go work out. And that's the battle that you need to understand these thoughts that are coming in. And you have to know that when you're in the first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, for most people in most situations, most of the time, when you are hearing, like when you're coming across these negative thoughts, they're more than likely wrong, right? They're more than likely overblown and completely wrong. Unless you have like some crazy injury to where like you literally like it extremely pains you to move your arm, or some insane injury like that. For again, most of the time it's not that bad. And those reasons that you're coming up with in your mind, they're not accurate, and um they're not they're not thoughts that you should foster. They're not thoughts that you should listen to. And there's a lot of things you can go. There's a lot of sources that you can go to kind of dive into this whole mental landscape, this whole thought process that comes along with all this. There's a lot of sources that you can go to really dive in and figure it out. And you're probably going to hear me talk about it many times. But as for today, I just want to let you know that that's something that you need to recognize, and you kind of have to figure it out on your own, right? You can listen to me, you can listen to whoever else, you can read whatever, but it is something that you do have to go in by yourself. And knowing that, and knowing what's at play, not being surprised when you set out to lose weight, and then all of a sudden, a couple days in, like you go from a point of, you know, almost, if you decided on your own that you wanted to lose weight, you go from a point of, like, you feel elated, right? You feel all pumped up. You feel excited that, oh, I'm going on this journey now. I'm starting this journey. I'm about to lose weight. Maybe you're looking at the magazines that don't exist anymore, and you're thinking, wow, I can be this girl. I can be this guy. I can get my body to this point. And you go from this, like, yes, everything's going to be great, because you haven't done anything yet, but you think this, and then again, however long passes, it could be the next day, it could be 2 days from then, it could be a month from then. Then all of a sudden you go down to a point of, uh-oh, what did I start off on? Why am I doing this? What is going on? I can't do this. This is impossible. This isn't for me. You go through all these different thought processes. And I just think it's very important. If you're going to create the habit of exercising, it's very important for you to understand that this is going to happen and this is going to be at play. So you're not surprised. So you're not, because a lot of people, some people go and work out, or they go to lose weight and get in shape. And some people say they're going to do it, and then they do it, and it happens. 20% of people, about 20% of people, that happens. And there's statistics that it's the 80-20 that I'm talking about, that's just one. There's one that is, there's a statistic that I saw that is not that high as far as people who succeed. But, and again, I just think it's important to know this, so more people take it serious, because from what I can see, a lot of people just, they're having difficult times. So this is me trying to help people who are having a difficult time. So you can have the one way where people are like, yes, I'm going to do this, and then they do it, right? Then you have people who say they're going to do it, and then they fail, right? Maybe a couple months down the road, they quit. And then maybe they start up a couple months later, and then they fail again. And they kind of go through this process over and over. And for the most part, for those people, the ones who start, fail, if they keep on doing that, eventually they'll get it. So those people get it. But then a lot of people, what happens is they start, they say they're going to do it, they get excited, and they're almost not looking at what's at play, everything that I talked about today. They're almost just like, they got blinders on. They got their head in their sand almost. And then what happens is reality hits them directly in the face, and they feel the anxiety, or they feel the soreness, or they feel the, just the amount, or they recognize the amount of effort it's going to take to actually, it takes a lot of effort to take off 50 pounds, right? It takes a lot of effort to get in shape. And the funny things, it takes a lot of effort to get into shape and lose the weight. But it's funny that it takes less effort to maintain the weight. But you have these people who are going into this, and maybe, again, they're just not looking at all the things at play, and they try to lose weight, and then all of a sudden, boom, they get a negative thought, or they get a couple negative thoughts, or they have a couple bad days, or they just have one bad day. And then they quit, and they say, hey, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not a person who exercises. I don't work out. I don't watch my diet. That's, whatever reason that they have for not continuing. And so you got to recognize, if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, trying to exercise, trying to build this habit, you need to recognize that this is all a possibility. You can be one of those three people, right? Um, so yeah, this is my attempt of helping you to try to, develop the habit of exercising. Because again, it is a habit, and it is something that, you go into the gym and you go find somebody who's not, I mean, I always talk shit about the bodybuilders, rightfully so. But if you go into the gym and you find somebody who maybe is not a bodybuilder, just somebody who's older person, there's plenty of older people who are like 40, 45 years old. Go talk to them for a couple minutes, right? And you're going to realize that these people are obsessed, more than likely, with exercising, and they have the habit of exercising. If you tell them, like, this whole lockdown thing and the gyms closing, I mean, a lot of those people are struggling. Not only struggling if they don't have the equipment, but a lot of them, I can guarantee you, have gone into debt buying dumbbells, because dumbbells are a ridiculous price right now. They're like 2.5 times the price that they usually are. I can almost guarantee there are countless amounts of people out there who have the habit of exercising, who spent, $500,000 that they might not have had on dumbbells to make sure that they can keep on exercising. So talk to those people, just get in, just listen to them for a little bit, and you'll realize that you can have the habit of exercising. You don't have to be obsessed, okay? I'm not saying that you should be obsessed with it or anything like that. There's a spectrum of it, but you should be able to feel comfortable knowing that you're going to work out, and you should feel comfortable knowing that you're going to follow a diet, right? Because that's just added. Not feeling comfortable knowing that you're going to actually work out day in and day out, or diet day in and day out, it's unnecessary stress, right? That's unnecessary anxiety for you. So to create the habit of exercising, uh, some say you just got to get past the 30 days. So some say that if you work out, 5 days a week for, 4 weeks or 6 weeks, some say if you can do that without ever faltering at all, without ever missing a day, without ever slacking, if you can do that for 6 weeks, you will have created the habit of exercising. Now, I've done that. I've done it with exercising and many other things. It takes me, about 3 to 5 weeks for me. Okay, it's not, um, it's not the same for everybody. But if you're looking for a duration time, think about that. Think to yourself, I hate thinking, I don't want to give advice to think short term. You should have the idea in your mind that you're always going to work out and diet to be healthy or to lose the weight, whatever it is. It's just a fact of life. But if you're trying to create the habit of it, if you want to see how close you can get to that great world to where you're going to exercise and you're going to watch what you eat, shoot for 6 weeks, right? Say, no matter what happens, right, I will work out and watch my diet for the next 6 weeks, and I will not miss a day. And as soon as you miss a day, you have to start the clock over again, okay? So if you do that, starting now for 6 weeks, there's a very good chance that you can actually create the habit of exercising. That doesn't mean that you're going to be healthy after 6 weeks. That just means that you have the activity in place to get you healthy. And that activity is now a habit. So now you have a habit of showing up to the activity that's going to help you get in shape. That is very important, obviously, right? So shoot for that. Again, 6 weeks is about what it can take for most people. But again, if you falter one day, you have to start the clock over again. And yeah, there's something else I wanted to say, but I think that's it. right? That's what I wanted to talk about today. I can't believe I used to want. I guess I'm probably going to try to shorten these podcasts. I started this podcast with the idea that I would just talk for 15 minutes, and now 45 minutes into it, here I am. Um, I don't know. Let me know if you like this podcast. Let me know what's up if you have any difficulty. Just yeah, whatever. There's a forum on my website. If I hope people start using it. It's just a forum that I put in there just to help other people talk about all this other things. So you have somebody else um, that you can talk to. Hopefully, people who are on this path can gather there and then talk about whatever difficulties they're having, how they overcame them, and all that. Any sources that they have, any books, whatever it is. So there's a forum on my website, liftrunstretch.com. If you're looking for a workout program, there's a free one on there right now. But yeah, until next week, there's actually another swell coming in. So your boy right here is going to be getting barreled again this weekend, which is great. And then there's even another swell after that. Bunch of waves are coming in my future, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, hopefully everybody has a good week. It's about to be Christmas, so do some Christmas shopping, say hi to Santa Claus, whatever it is. Does Santa Claus have to wear a mask? It is. Are people going to quarantine from Santa Claus? Are they going to put a stopper on their chimney? If I was a kid, I would tell my parents to do that. Be like, hey, we gotta block Santa from coming in, or hang a mask up in the fireplace. But yeah, whatever. Have a good day, everybody. And yeah, adios. I'll see you next week.